qualify since some make come debut and I 1994 the last World Cup Nigeria for Black Stars Amoma Nkobi and this World Cup also DRC ama Nigeria and some Nkobi 2 World Cups in a row. Near say Nigeria man betting ya qualify here Nigeria and Lesotho about 1-1 ewo fie wokwawe ni Zimbabwe about 1-1 Nigeria and South Africa about 1-1 ewo fie and Nigeria Koluzu 2-1 to Benin and a team na Ghana Raw a coachy one former coach now coachy Bojuma pa Nigeria was probably funny at dinner fe one of the aqua pama and your man Shadan Kwasadie I was saying some Mexico nama me moment a goalkeeper na ye fansa Timothy Fajulu one and just what save ayo man I fansa DRC make an no person umbe game no and the coach aye changes at the Fayulu ebemo ahano they all can in answer than Satiani Chilerium na Fayulu and some other sort of only sheka bibia twediam ponyankopon ade awase nchasa nyame de waye nioma chasa papa munkwa bibia nyame ye bia ye ade papa nkwa na rade nyankopon and some aye ntwase say ebrano so everything has its time na se bibia wone mra answer to bench onya na ya pon gamere na edene bamana wonom ana baba gene di a make 2 saves and am some amacha so man no woman qualify to boy no and some adanya me ase na omo some legend abrontia ya fan sa chancel in Bemba wonom say no no 101th game at the moment no na chance so mo born abasun team Bemba timer womo your presentation at the man ansana womo game ever start any wo hwe aye DRC akiro apart from chancel in Bemba on azat Zebe, woman, you partner our 5 no, a man former boy na Vanessa, a one Bisaka, and about 2, and Atama Swaku, and some about 3, and Sunderland, a boy na, one some different, no, a Kodano some Opiapa, now your friend Noah Sadiki, Sadrak Mame, Noah Sadiki after the game, one some Kasani Bisana, sir, a fee, Money Sunderland, more former pa, and also DRC, Elco, Intercontinental Playoff, Mufilio, would you tear Noah Sadiki and Komodi after the game?
Having an incredible season with Sunderland at the moment. How does it feel to have that season going on, but to also potentially be part of the DR Congo team that could potentially play at the World Cup?
I'm part of both, so it's incredible to be part of a team that just came up and that has so beautiful results at the time. And now for DR Congo to be like forgotten from the World Cup. We didn't go since a long time, and now to have one step to go again, it's an incredible feeling.
So you're having an incredible season with Sunderland.
Just an incredible feeling. Our Bramo form, our club side, and no, I Sunderland, then a be more bar national team and so on. What the DRC MNA qualifies, I say, Yamia Duma, Yawadomo Chomo drawn off from Mount Saturday, Yamia Duma next year match, almost a playoff game, no, and some Gabesia, William Trust Ekon, one air captain Nigeria. Now, Bono Kano Mobi because I did about Conessa, I am San Juan and it was an Trust Ekon game, no. Ono so din komade ba kwa na fans otwen ewo eye dressing room akwan no ema players no wo nyina pie ba besene kwafru timba sansana ekon ebe din nkomo wasa still na no are proud as a boys no aye adwuma pa yentie trust ekon.
You know, we're devastated as a team. I'm really proud of the boys. You know, these are moments where there's so much emotion. The boys gave it everything. It's not just this game, the games before, the last 10 months. And yeah, we went out fighting. It wasn't good enough today, but I think there's so much positive still to take from here. You know, there's an AFCON around the corner in 1 month's time. And yeah, I've seen so many players stand up, become leaders, the experience that they gained throughout this qualification. And yeah, I think the future of this team is bright. You know, we have so many young players also here, and they still have time.
Nigeria and DRC, said Ghana for see Nigeria for so our social media and also worship and Nigeria for say cry Moncraft Conibie and Ghana for so just Moncom TV Yabatram Casapan. Most Munya been quoted, said Yamuno, I did Naketwa Grata, some of the more left, right, center, Bakuka, Musu be a catcher, will be said. so camera no use so to make you abegye the Congo Cup na ba na so the back of call and also the craft come am abegye to original standby chese Ghana for Nigeria they want to ya wo mu jino mo so sa ma de achena de menya no sa aye Paris Saint-Germain wo mu say abrontem no sa Julian Alvarez I was sinan kan and some adama aye boboku a ye fa no sa Atletico Madrid no wo mu so apena boy no de na ye dem say Barcelona epe another clubs no more na no wo mu nyina so per spider and so the spidey and some acrobat report am say can say you say Atletico for no say some beto no be 70 something or Man City or and to the 120 be at here okay say Julian yo ya the Julian Alvarez am 120 million euros na just one yan for kwanto mo say we no Atletico for valuation wo some body ato akwada no so na shadow akama Kono Gallagher na Kono Gallagher so yere betutwa ekobe se 2 weeks any year Man U for nya omo penny a host of clubs ewo eye Premier League no musa wo som nya bon omo pena Gallagher say one control bia say January obefri boboku a ye fa no Atletico Madrid akọ wo ye happy e wo musa bon no won shira nya bi mo a wo twen say be opportunities any ade ensom ababa wo be so play bigger role e wo Atletico omo team no mo wo be so the club no age titles no mo say be abe wa twensen wobeko nyame yarma January de wose ye want to twa say eno so kra enya man tirim a chesanem aya asma player ye fa no say Gallagher area to twa ana FC Barcelona wo mo twa say be a clearance ebeba na City Council ama kwan dia na ne bounce game I was like Basso against Ayabe Bao wo metimi abo our stadium Camp Nou because omo ye training our last week Friday ema last 2 weeks Friday rather ema obia unsampa wo mo stadium no anyoma elko kama pa na ena ye twenti se ekwan no bie dia wo me bo bebawo ewo ho no mo se kwan no emie na se bia den amana dia enyi so mo twan ekosi nyame ya adoma 29th of this month ene dia wo me Alaves ena bebo sa match no ehom ena be twese Barcelona team no wo mo so abeba aye Camp Nou eno enso aye kakra free mu ede benano pe ewo show no se wia report am say kan say Juan Garcia wo mo goalkeeper no meti say obe start against Bilbao some can say before international break no or you very okay no mom we decided someone risking because baby ababedru no matches no be to so we be ball La Liga ball aye cup games up ball aye Champions League mom ade ahemtine no mo be so you fully fit am ko break aba entimates a boy right after the break no we don start La Liga game and some other consensus 24 short kono so this season was 19 and no actually ni save percentage and some agina 83% what do compare Chesney and some 42 short and our corner so was 24 na just and save percentage no and some agina 64 na just our fam no just our no be here no pa na Rafinha me tisa we Barca be resume aye training and na omo training ayo chana crowd Tuesday and anyame yarma FC Barcelona womo some resume report to me nyano say Rafinha ebeka team no ho womo ebe training interchasa womo game a weekend di ebeka so no wono some ebetumi abo onim say Rafinha ekodi weekend na Abu Dhabi ho ana akura no so call ya mete say ochena ebe join aye training na eno some ebeka so na bonsa for omo din komo pa but omo mani mpie yeso man kasa chia tum say no am say Alejandro Balde ohwie ana Jules Koundé aso ho nyunu say ta just a born one among for the fonsa wo mo highline no eye ne na di wo mo wasoro ho eye ne na di bansa e wase ho ni na so 2 and 3 and am say consensus e wo amajatum say e mo domo no ba na ba from eye ne no yeso mo dim common internally am ho kwan a wo mo som aba fa so atimi resolve na Pep Guardiola wo mo dim common na omo bisa ne say na that be ano wo Pep ubetimi aye president ama Barcelona and also no say Barca ba untimi reject Barca e man nye because I no start free on say yeah can say first love there on a breaking here to Barca for na a breaking on terms the first love no untimi reject them so no Pep na wasini tire ho amia flying tie net dan boss no te royal box and one say goal abano abano and there be Wontumi yes adwuma gra one no so to nsa wo touchline ya de ntoro de so betena se na wo miam na bia wo hwe aye se de match esi kwa no onye adwuma sakra Wontumi nya president and kwatena aye presidential box eno aye asema manager fa no support no enso ade atodwa Madrid and area and omo training session ebe resume wo man ko international break ebe saba because wo nya days off and ya de ntomo nyina no ebe resume after senra wo ye adwumadi ema chesera first ever NFL eba so e was Spain chesera Madrid and a hostie no wonu sa president Florentino Perez adie e ba ye hu kan wo aba so mo chesera ene yes was of value Real Madrid 10 billion euros. I'm saying minim club and a boy some but to say Madrid said the president you know it's value a club no say be abimutua 3 billion pounds about Chelsea no sene oba say be a Madrid odia 10 billion euros and your Madrid one valuation so nyina chi no one begem e ama members no ana so ye member na bia wunya stake won so mutumi ton stake ni bi e ma another member abeton be 100,000 euros and your idea one so I heard himself can be so no one so be yanko aye Napoli and ana dem say kan say Napoli team no one so be resume training awon ye fanasa Castel Volterno ana Napoli for no ebe resume okay see ebe international break no na Napoli modum our form Antonio Conte question mark send meeting bia na osa baso enso baso ani ade report amenya no say hwe no wo mo ebe resume mo training normal we say be after international break no and you man some ebe kama and no ay update bana team ba ko a wotai gina ba Munchen so pa ay 1860 Munchen na omo ya akrafo omo nka na ba Munchen ye training our Samana Strasse ho and omo training grounds ewo hwade o omo yisu graffiti na sam omo de sa spray ni bi akwakoye 1860 aha ye ban womu training grounds ana nkofana kwa twetwere ho sa no edomo so mo chasa mo ya mbanfo chem ye temo so tetrete ye mo mani nka da a chese ban logo no ma sei no ma twetwere wo so no ho basa all the oma ye a chese otimi free wo training grounds akọ wo bi diam akọ isu graffiti e de sense ne oma dia na chese nkofo se ade e fa no se ni je pa de omo nya bi da na we no aye ultras ana be sa ne oma na ena no pay the update ni nyina deba ana Nicholas Jackson yes we could come say January Jackson besa ko because I'm saying emfa and yes Jackson so one country be also be come bia one Bamunchin January onye so be free ho and so come bia be stay no one cause up on the ball and some ade am Bamunchin team no na buying for the better just say wo munya Leverkusen different na ye fa no say Alex Grimaldo omo pe no wonum say Grimaldo no obian shedan ko ne kam say bia ye be kasa bat wo munya boy no omo pe ana akura no so na koma so ade pa no so be ko Spain na Spain no yerim say Barcelona and some ape no obi obo free kick no too rough and the goals e kind of ball no just one Jeremy from Paul Yajuma and Alonso pa na Grimaldo no wonya Barcelona no pe ana akwakwa se Barca fo so fu se wo mu bankum wo bawdenum ehwie enti no munya boy no som adene bank ba bua pa ma team no ensom afa no tuma pa de afra eno aye kakra fi omaso ye ade eba Arsenal onum so mo boy na ye fa no se Gabriel Magalhaes omu game no wo ko pry ame hu se Gabriel te form omu ye so metwa scan that was enra any ade ya twen serious scan no som aba ye be hu se de akwada no so pra no eno som ngabasi akọ because Arsenal enya luzu Gabriel Magalhaes nesa aka William Saliba and Piero Hencapi sabone na coach no so be so chase on born popa chemsa ye be twende on said report no and some abesi akọ Manchester United Lisandro Martinez we catch us so we kwa training with Argentina team no we kwa training no aba ye so mo gide be say after international break no Lisandro the butcher abesa ba be jinam adiama United bobo na eno aye kakra frimu and some eba no mo chese January there anya likely say Man U abesa akọ for Carlos Baleba na mum yere season na summer transfer market ni bia ana man you for no ebesa kobiam se de be a wo mo som betimi dia akwada na fa no se Carlos Baleba and some aba ama chese ne nyina ne kakra free wo ede bena no pen e wo show no so afei sama me eye Golden State Warriors aprantia ye fa no se Drummond Green wonum se Drummond Green say story na aso onya no be bonanie o say omo bobo no nyina wo ti akonya so ka kire no say oye woman na so be so so no Drummond Green say bi oyo ba I don't say obisa oh me am so obo say there be no say agwana ga jem say me so obo ba de sie ne anya sie yo no de ato na chi a che so hwe na nim I no eye say the Drummond Green kwadi na asema ya the update our basketball ni mo and some ba quick one other results and some ba yan flash here na che say San Antonio Spurs omutwa Sacramento Kings 123-110 Emma LA Clippers omutim no wo mo lose game about Boston Celtics I know eye 121-118 ebiam no and some Houston Rockets woman some Orlando Magic 117 as against 113 and Sana Warriors said Yamakachon say woman 124 against 106 Eritia New Orleans Pelicans Emma Portland Trail Blazers and Dallas Mavericks game no 138-133 and no I said your matches Aquama Fe Chicago Bulls and Soluzuye Edma Utah Jazz 150-147 our Phoenix Suns team no and some Atlanta Hawks and 124-122 LeBron James Namande yes obeteki part way a full training session because so one more practice baby because Rick's in almost boarding no one junior team G League for them and a 20 and to good news at LBG betting about the first official game our basketball regular season our Brano Peno yeah the update and some Ademaya fence na yama kwama bedwa for na na afi yento aso enso na free this and also your Wontumi Sports buffet yama to aso
a tiri mismi frete ni aba bedu oh ya ba men sasa kura ka gate am say menje na de ma ye de me sa me 10 city do am fan ton so ma donzo sa on fan yan so sika no fan ko as a striker 1-on-1 Wontumi peto ya ne has a bc this asi me so me 10 city no aka distance get bi na to on a say sa 10 city no ba be say ma donzo on fan ton so no uncle ma on top
ya nje o fan cha on tonsu
o de on top
o don top vena 3 no fa
na on top vena be no minute
David ebe vena 3 ba ku bi a 3 series 9 series ebe ka 1 series no dey ato such as 2 as support
goes as a striker
because ya me hwe match e ma wo megina ni mu e me bo fitiri na ya ball kakra krampa ya do professional level krampo no eneni ya ball special e wo asem ni amanko atia na anka asem manko
fe yento aso enfan free still live on Wontumi TV digital and satellite ba bia ba fa biam say TV no amanfo hwe party show no na ade ama chese internet no so ba bia ba fa bia no enioma enso ekoso na yama police for nyina so ayi na service with integrity yama mu nyina so ache because am say police for no see show no from kra na no ameko say barrier ba bia ba dru bia ameza bia e find
so boko se na no bitufu wantie se krumu ane de ba bia ba fa bia de jack ende se ma catch be so mu hia ho no mu hia ba bi bebre wo krumu ase
yebeko yo mo free bronya bre
because ye kwa ye bre dodo
Wontumi
na fancy way mewa ebi so ye wa wench se video ni jaibo
and Nigeria 2029
video so jaibo
4 years video they recording us
4 years
4 years video say club world champions new na who ye dey
me ho ye ya bibi ai kupa
ana council so be sry no pay
o adwuma so ye
okay
o adwuma so ye
ana ye dey here
o adwuma so ye but on say when you me TSC street no so we nti no but o adwuma so ye no to be very honest o adwuma so ye because you start yenye ya bro enya me hia na me dey afre ya me guso so me afre guso but ono woni na wie ya me ni sia dia wie
kwan se katapila
ni start kra battle
Jacopo ne me nya start
you kwan se katapila uzuzu ya misha Said your papa, seriously, your papa. I'm a bombing come over any more sense, say, or per se, what decided in idea. Now, we saw no what me are coming up here, but my catcher says support in the day, what you have to push. Yeah, same of course, been pushed, but so 2 and 1 day out. And so push you. He's a very young man. Uhunesano, and a crack, bar. And then I'll be team necessary anyway from 2010 all the way.
It's only very
or the United in a very CID. Yeah, man, official cover now.
And councilman more quabe.
Yeah, me also my nutrient to say on Fem baby. Miana, Minana, Mabira. My only motive for manager say. Maybe no one watch him about. I'm
pay film now. My presentation the room. Are we safe?
Maybe about court.
Okay.
And to me, we are in time now. I'm so. I had him fear. If I'm mobile crime and shut up my officially, my mamma quama. Mr. Sorry, be a bit. Oh, that's now my Vienna may far. Obama Jeff at the said, one year shake. I made the fans be out.
Was so much champion Masamka.
Open me back. Said that to suffer. So Newton in the come. A try here will show the son. My husband was trying to be I know I am cancel. No, I be a free agent. Don't to me, Simon.
Cancel to him.
Now, I was winning. Yeah, cancel.
Bra, I Scott Berman. I know we invited me. And put it from the Freya's and make for her parlor.
I don't carry the anchor.
Me Avenue. Come for us, one Paco had as a brother. You know, didn't you see? Of course, I mean, yeah, answer the video.
Whoa, Yanantia,
sure. Very sad moment for a very beautiful moment for African football. And whoever watched Nigeria DRC game, no who say, in fact, say here 2 reps, okay, do more come more qualified than one. Both countries, you know, should have been there for a 3rd successive time. Nigeria and Kubio. Now, Adena is so sad, Kakra.
For a second,
could be last time. Now, stop him. So I stop him. We are looking at quality in Nigeria. Ikra, I'm a place in a Katia across every length of the world. Top leagues are here, England, Spain, everywhere. Ubenya or more a player. But me was one angle of the qualifiers here. Ghana, Nigeria, Brazil, Uruguay countries. They are pressure almost. So Drew qualifies a year Bob Lesotho, Nigeria and Lesotho okay scoreline. And only games among 4 say if you had that strength among the ball DRC ball Gabondia, why not in the qualifiers? FAB would D Stanley Wabali attempt and they are not going to the World Cup. May for Osimhen's sake. For Osimhen's sake. I'm not line up and I may highlight one thing, but before that, we must start with DRC for the side. Shall I recommend DRC for line up? We are talking about a continent that lose most of the Jews to other countries like France and Belgium. When you DRC squad no, your boys no, a bimu yese come up baby for frabo and then they came back down here.
So DRC line up no goalkeeper Lionel Mpasi Zhao, one of that post anymore. Right back Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Centre backs Chancellor Mbemba and Axel Tuanzebe. Left back Arthur Masuaku. Middle Sunderland boy no Noah Sadiki. Afei Wenso Ngal Ayel Macau. Or also ball middle. And a boy fan Samuel Mutusami. Or also ball middle. Attack Meshak Elia. Cedric Bakambu. And afei Nathaniel Mbuku. I'm going to start my DRC
4-1-4-1 typical attacking side with Samuel Mutusamo as the lone anchor operator back 4 no. Now watch closely when he said back 4 we say a bit me a feature for every country on the African continent. Atamaswaku is an experienced guy.
Yeah.
Now Tuanzebe and then Chancellor Mbamba partnership. Chancellor Mbamba last time AFCON only performance and output. The only central defender now Bruno so William Trustekon. Chancellor Mbamba he has grown into the African game. Aggression, physique. He has the technical capacity to match up every center forward in the game. So me that match up against Victor Osimhen, no means throw. No more say in the first half no crowd. Not as a real common na ko come house of Kotoko game be mu yi Kotoko ye changes Chastela no. I'm say oh ya coach Nadu. And then crowd how Chastela then we in the film time be in the film all of that. How on earth would you change Victor Osimhen?
It's an injury.
And they are
at the time no. So the questions were added we Osimhen left him.
That was the question.
So 4-1-4-1, it was a very big day for DRC. And Mama Jumane I day, I'm not stopping Eric Shelley right now. I'm not for saying you Dimanco. I'm not for so called check as na okay general a quite best fire unity and Okofa Benin and cross Nigeria for. All in all, congrats to DRC. So I qualify at this stage. Imagine say 74 our forefathers of the continent over Cameroon did 8 times. Zaire in 74 no kan ho at the time I watch AFCON am your bomb so this country and as Seseko e ka say wa be kwa be bo homo di bia be fie omoko bomb so but AFCON no achi no World Cup ran koyi a very porous output and a buy president no before but this time enra na merry making and we so qualify omoko at the expense of one of the greatest football nations on the continent in Nigeria. Kudos to these guys. Away from that, my catcher said the blaster I've seen no, there's some level of spirit to be echo. I think that couple na a D what they know because blaster ball bia no me who say you an element of bite oh your game no. Sabon you who so say that from back you see some energy oh your game no. But friendly game where there coach kasa wa transi agina home crowd want to me because every time I saw one no go so awokasa. Mickey made a point say, oh, Ebiana senior players be Argentina, you lose leadership kakrom. Oh, she Senegal the Brazil game now. My catcher said, yes, Senegal for the bad Brazil no. Put the scoreline away. Because the only African country Brazil and for ancient da was Senegal. One African country so foreign coaches be bresa Senegal. Now, Oshe Papi Tiao, the selection, everything he did, Shadrach should let us go through the line up. Very flamboyant side. Bobi, not devoid of nervousness. Naya ne African teams in New balls are you Brino. No, Senegal was different. At some point in the game, Vinicius Kasembi, watch closely this lineup. I'll share our screen. So, a 4-2-3-1 with a makeshift role for Papi Matassa. Papi Matassa was a central midfielder for Tottenham Hotspur, but Ismail Sarr. Any formation in Tino, we a 4-4-1-1. 1-1 no Ismail Sarr body agina Sadio Mane achi. No you two sharp wingers. A horn na asem no because ubenya Iliman Ndiaye. Very, very good trickery about 1-on-1, about the speed, all of that in the ball control on the wave of the but on the other side, no, now Papi matter sign to me because on your winger, it's a no inverted but inside said by ya with your central load and the anchor with your edgema in the Papi gay and it is a gay. Anchor Banessa 2-0 anyway, but the game not itself, no. How did we enjoy this game? There's no African team who make us winning ball, but I dare you upon the chair. Any class echo and the hunger to fight. Vinicius Kasembi, all can minim kasa crow kan, but career na Koulibaly training. It means what you say no. How fierce the eyeballs no 10 year no Vinicius no. And you military academy CBC. And I'm saying no, I love this from Senegal. So yo. Ahead of AFCON World Cup, no Senegal grow. You can't so much AFCON back up. A bit surprising because Omu BRB World Cup and I know you call South Africa 2010. Yeah, Kasa you could do. Nobody could do that milestone. But unfortunately, one AFCON Penomaji led by Ali Sisi and another mode Papitia also ability. This is a very brilliant squad. A mat 2-0 number, but the output in overall against Brazil, no, it happens to be one of the best. Gattuso, name some no kind mean treaty seminal. Me father say your opinion. But Gattuso, I did now 2 Italy national team no and then only be coachy. I mean, we are talking about coaches. Italy as a country. We are talking about Italy. For God's sake. No. We are talking about coaches who understands the game, can decode whatever is going on the field. In the perspective of tradition, Italy for no World Cup and can we Brazil free on most successful side. They have memories, and then they no way for the ayomo. Na my show team mudi omuni world class striker bia with team.
Sana na ma Haaland ko kan last week say sa Pio Esposito no krenya me ni onim no. But when so can say no be boy na ye bia boy no say basa na bufu aba omuni ade but no kren wo kan but so Obama national team of Italy then again some bomber in Tamland I means oyade and he has some Haaland can last week and indeed Esposito Chronos the chef first go my Italy so now Italy for now say unim the after the one with the background you be sour about or no and Haaland responded with 2 goals
simple. Mami highlighting come be about the whole qualification. Oh say, to be yaw. Oh say a bon and tax here to bon. Na makope aduane nom de abehim. Omokope aduane nom de abehim no bobo no. But to be no ko fa de nom de ba na utua e bon ne ba ko a. Aduane no nja aduane mu nto owura onya ba bi e kwa foforo da. No ba be fa sa na to Italy fo no. So qualify sankasa no manya ko ewura ho. And say no they so hold up their hope set omeko eno mo sa konwan ba bi foforo. He say Sweden wani mu ho. North Macedonia anymore. It will be so. It also be a very tough moment for Italy. But the reality is, Italy one national team. Now, you don't want to tell we are man for because we are man for France. There, we are man for. No matter filter. No matter South Africa. No matter Obama. Every year to say the Eka Bisaka Mudi. They filter the quality of the quality. Belgium, so yes, I do. But Italy, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Call Latin America for no. Brazil. Aha. It's a bloodline be no matter for Africa dear and 10 bebresa now say na benya Christian doggy name Balotelli mo black for black a bo omutim be so na yakwa say mo be use mo amode dia it has to be the best of the best
lately the quality level
quality ni ho me mata kese no Ricardo Orsolini ho Matteo Politano Giacomo Raspadori Matteo Retegui Pio Esposito na obodi no Gianluca Scamacca who is world class here.
And how many goals are these strikers our boy like individually obia betimi amount to say 20 goals in a season
and who is even an established striker here cause established that and who job on the bar you be forget to and I am forget to none of them none of them
Wontumi
so baby mo do there on my break. Now the MFN is a catch of France 98 at the Norway Baby Drew stage. And if I introduce you no a tall Andrew Flow in a typical 4-1-4-1, the height of 1.9 frame. No, every Bobby systematically suited in the style of playing the strength. But this time almost have 1.95 for 4-2 in Alex Solo and Haaland. Obia height at 1.95 and supported by Oscar Bob and Antonio Nusa from RB Leipzig. These two players, even without Martin Odegaard, Patrick Bergy and Asanda Bergy, 2 typical sexes. I'm going to man no way for. But problem kakran say omotimine to say wo. You know, the PS in the final third, but a bit very weak at the base of the team. I don't even fear. But teams no man who they boss to say Belgium, Italy, Poland, Sankrof no. Yeah, a 50-50 game. A 50-50. So near Brazil, na Brazil team we cry now.
It's all about European football.
Still that game now. No way for the ball.
Brazil cross on America.
Oh yeah.
It's all about us to some European style of play.
Na me ko. I heard them the baby. We no way in Italy there na me sorry so. Brazil asem ya wo kan nti no. Shadrack me we dey me man mo on cha ho because me time no encho bebam. Shadrack me Brazil lineup no for the first time in years. Who an element of magic e will line up with them. Japan Korea 2002. Okay, yan can line up in here. We line up with formation when your friend said the magic box, you know. 4-4-2 magic box. Now magic box in here. Oh, Casemiro ne Bruno Guimaraes. Or me no. O de Estevao ne Rodrigo be so a one box. Okay, prepare no. O first Estevao na fa Rodrigo, na fa Cunha, na fa Vinicius. I know some one box. Into a friend of magic box because at every sequence of the game there's one box that will be home. A best start from the other one to the other one. In between situations. But how come Brazil here? Now formation last coach I mean who's Bobby Esam Obodu. Or Bobby Ditia Dr. Prosper Ogum our Kotokone house game be.
Okay.
Or you saw Nuruddin Aziz. House of Folk Nuruddin Aziz, you know. Or you saw another Suleiman Tari. Or you saw Kwadwo Ben Junior and Bani a free or top. And on there there's another player that can 4-2-2-2-2-2 magic box. We team only creativity be brain no. The team is so direct. The attack is in America for 1-2-3 in the final third. I'm on check in the transitions be brain no. Now where are the skills, the flamboyancy, the samba football? Now we no mesama Shadrack age no. We are line up we are mesama the age no. It will surprise you to know say Brazil players will be not come in their prime 30 something Casemiro, Mone, Marquinhos, they are getting close to the end of their time, especially in the colors of the Seleção. Now Brazil called directed at Bay. I'm not about for no way out. Look at their ages. Marquinhos 31, Casemiro 33, Alessandro 34, Ederson 32. This is the Brazilian national team. In the age no pon support to the style of play no more. Style of play with a full energy. One Vinicius, one Estevao, one Cunha.
Yeah. Rafranik.
Oh, Rodrigo. Omunya ball now. Moko Rafranik so a formation not table 2-2-2-2 and very direct. Okay. They don't keep more time on the ball. They don't sustain the pressure in their half. Over the ball, it's every time no. And day and I know team. But how did they come by this? And then why in the Brazil number 10? Yo, Metis will be can name as someone. Nipa no dem be if somebody still hold some hope in Neymar, the mini part be anyhow.
And they want to be mobile.
No way, they should move away from Neymar quickly. Neymar, what you man 90 minutes me do a World Cup no. Football generally has moved from skills to physique. So prep ball on the count where the home account. Neymar want to mean completing 90 minutes me do a World Cup.
Whoa, Mate, me da say. Meza. Mamma hono me wi ana fi ma ba
I'll be very quick. Cancel
World Cup management.
Me akwa me pese me cancel crisis.
About 2 months. Sports 1 year oko camera.
Some sports and the Raneka. And then Branco be bet obi 11 players but obi 20 players by the sports number sports law. And then the GF me ejuma bo mu sasa na
I know we can't cry any.
Yeah, I'll be very quick on the Italian issue. I think, first of all, there has been a tactical stagnation over the Italian national team with the way City set it up, and an over-reliance on a certain style and no free tete, which is a defense na and a actually. So I can quite remember, we were literally young, but in '94 USA. France 98. It was all about Roberto Baggio. Any omu defense. Inti defendi ani abuatum. Na Baggio akoye skill set 1-2-1-2 no akobo biatum. Any man 94 final no kojina penalty at your boy panya na ball na mwem. Na ekoni baby. But fast forward before the 2006 World Cup and San Omubabeje sa World Cup no. Trapattoni di omu call 2004 Euros. The year Cristiano Ronaldo PMI ya Greece koje no. Omo kono mo Christian Vieri, Mekano mo Totti, no more Andri Pelou, top class players, Fabio Cannavaro. But at the Euros, no, they became too defensive minded. To a certain extent, say, on board draw, no more draw. Group stage no move film, Denmark in the year move film. And at 2006, and some on Bekono Mosesa coach in the Kofa Rigo Sachi in the air day. Bye. Now this is the difference. Trapattoni relied on Tetenio Manani, the Italian national team, see defense heading. Ye who heading, ye defend the Pampe, ye counter attack be near about yako. But Arrigo Sacchi brought in a different thing because or explore different options due to different nationalities on your Moya Juma with AC Milan. And also be defining a certain era in the history of Italian football, especially from the club side. Where far AC Milan the root gullet money boys in the Champions League. It will be more team more attacking sided. It was Italy 2006 be totally different from whatever they did in 2004. That means there was a change. After Italy 2010 or Masatanase or my over reliant on old players no 2006 na Tete line and Amakofa Prandelli Naba Prandelli defended where you see just a Brankwa. They failed to even change with time. But Italy has never won a major tournament with their striker being the goal king in a major tournament. Omomoko major tournament be 2006 Omoje World Cup nenye Luca Toni na top scorer World Cup. Yes. You go back to almost successful years in your Omoje. You go back to Euro 2020. Omoje na striker. Energy goal king at the end of the day. Euro 2020 e ko boy Omoshe England on penalty shooter at J. Italy a bad striker so much omu this omu obi the but omu nyankofo e de omu tournament e de koje dabi omu de na backline midfield and wingers omu good Cretum. So for example, 2020 Frederico Chiesa. Fabo no de na Monteteno no boko. Antonio Conte call Euros back wing backs. Nkwa or the Graziano Pele mu na kobo 9 and 10 de omokoe. E ko duru animu kakra nsa ne yom. So they don't usually care about that. But ade baako asa how omo pan yes now enkoda omo tete omo free small clubs. What's the first na Parma and the production line of most of the clubs for Italy. So Cannavaro money all of these guys will come through Parma. But Emirates sign yes most of these guys in the growing na near the omo ba Juventus and AC Milan. Now AC Milan appear in Champions League season after season. Juventus plays in the Champions League season after season. So omo groomi sa boys winning na fi omo de omo be remo national team nim. But then akoda ni nyini kakra bia skani AC Milan ho. Skani Juventus ho. Inter Milan no kra wo skara kra no epepe. Oya no akofa loan. Omo ya no maton no ko. Omo ya no maton no ko. It dey be make sure say the entire AC Milan asesa. The entire Juventus na asesa. The entire Inter Milan asesa. Inter Milan international. Yes, see, I'm from Abonte by Italy. No, I'm Inter Milan. AC Milan ye Kromadia. But then, Adane, look at the number of Italian players playing for Inter Milan. Then look at the number of foreign players playing for AC Milan. Then there is Juventus. Sandro Tonelli sees so. Wabo Brescia. Yes, so a combination of a central campesta and a deep line playmaker. Andrew Pelomone, Marquisio Mane, Diomaba. Afi Koyenima, Obo AC Milan 1-2 seasons per derby. Yaton Sandro Tonelli. Mina make a trade now. Sandro Tonelli will still be playing for AC Milan.
Sana Nicolo Barella at the end.
Barella at the end because Inter Milan is performing. It was Ifako. It's an Inter various Italian players, Di Marco, Bastoni. Most of these guys, Esposito Munina, most of these guys in now. But for AC Milan, I want to about Christian Pulisic. Foreigners and Santiago Jimenez, Yusuf Fofana, Luka Modric, or Moanebo. Fikayo Tomori Moane Ginechiro Debo. Then there's Locatelli no only see Euro 2020 no. Honestly, injuries in the court, injuries in the court. So the production line is having a problem. Their top clubs who is supposed to nurture them is having a problem. And I think they've also failed to change with time in terms of how our football is. The athleticism in football now, the pressing stature in football now, a lot of things Italy are failing to adjust to it. And Kofa coach Gennaro Gattuso. Oh, there be one yard here. And what Hajduk split ya pamono Italy team no beti my. Yan kind of crunch down for me and say down for. Also measure say from 94 coach Sambo Mudi BC Arrigo Saki so. Then Prandelli Mubeye then fast forward Antonio Conte Mube. Now look at the standard. Antonio Conte Mukrania so mo nyade owu. Omukra no mo baya, omo de Graziano Pele mo baya just so mo nyade. Then ababa besi wan so. Gennaro Gattuso. Or say yobe. Ana European qualifiers ni say, an Africa de mu say, ana oko South America de no say teams qualify.
2006 coach na Italy na ba World Cup na Marcello Lippi. Marcello Lippi. It is share the line of coaches are or Masuso ma dia baba ababisi Samri then now ababa Gennaro Gattuso. E wo fem. Share on said the curiosity tie no. Oda na adwo a won sana wo de di no ka no rere ho anu ohu. Wo rere ho anu ohu. Na trimai wo de English media na sana ekoso. Sisi Jude Bellingham na be the topic of discussion. Obebo started on more Congo World Cup. On one go on national team in 2006. Abra no Congo World Cup. Manchester for sorry Abui. Liverpool for sorry Abui. Steven Gerrard. Chelsea for story the coconut pie Frank Lampard. We ya de we. Posco si ya de we ya omuko World Cup ni na to kwa dem gidi. Ye hu ni eka. Asama Thomas Tuchel eka no. If you dig it deep, or cut the right things to help the national team. But the media is trying to twist it to create a certain rivalry within the national team. Because Oka say Jude Bellingham compete with Morgan Rogers or compete with Kopama. Fancy no Ukrainian yamie any question national team will be 3 million a day. And the reason why England were suffering under Gary Southgate, they said there was too many favoritism. It is a player and the exact position and was Southgate creative BB. Not the player and a day. So there was so many misprofiling when it comes to all set players and they are presented teams or Munkobo. But with Tuchel, only prioritize balance over names, which is going to be best for the English national team. Because individual quality, we will be power.
Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham, Morgan Rogers, Harry Kane. Look at the kind of quality they have. Bukayo Saka. Marcus Rashford Munina and Amachira Mukramaya backbenchers are fin or Mobemu. There's Magay. So they have enough quality. So it's about creating the right balance. And Nina due to the E-Triple-P project Omokoye. And the E-Triple-P ne provide players I may be Koboma Nigeria, Dimola Lukman. Column was not a Pegana, but Omunina a product of that. Jaro Kwansa Munina Yambe Topo, I think I feel the Maba Rizaba, and Yo Gomez in Yabi Moe. Obe Bumka no Conche, Boka no Conche. When we now. But when you are casting media, and I see Jude Bellingham on Yadi, and I see this Jude Bellingham new ever pre opposite opposition for so sorry.
Say you were born on that or a substitution, free field no sooner a bencher. New cancer or Chelsea say. Both because a basana all disrespect Uniana and also free bench. I shall say free time on the buy. I mean making story. They say one friend in the national team now or Casa Fino India but Munya Botre. True. And on Sabe Casa Morgan Rogers Nico Palmer Munani players a more play number 10 position. And I wish what Abetum. It almost set a trap now to a certain extent. Say after media and Bakwa could decide say Jude Bellingham. But Kusuma be another side say now play a better change with Bellingham. Then they will start using it to disrespect players at Jude Bellingham near more pre-competition. After Ombeko national team company neja dem. Say Kuraye Uhunia Keka. Just say Penyoma ye God save the king. Well, whether balanced or not, under no circumstance should Rogers be picked ahead of Jude. We have Philip Mensah Anderson.
England national team Real Madrid.
Wow. For the Mensah Anderson message, council, I'm not where Mike about, but now councils all quality in my memory on that.
England, they're in a Mekabi.
Oh, okay.
In England, you will be me English boy.
Oh, God save the king.
My support to my. You say England, Shadia, will be on Texamen.
Okay.
You say England, we are seeing her boys singing our number, and I'm in Chelsea. But, share for the few years, England are progressing. We boy near first crowd no a fair quarter final stage. You do what year film. But to the extent that you call your team finals there, may I attribute it to coaches I work EPL. Or the whole world best coaches in about EPL. So we should tell you say, boy, and England so a typical and saying that I'm afraid outside England. Yeah, support England the only player who break his idea no Owen Hedges. All in a Bayern Munich. Or no pair, no crown, no exceptional. And I Beckham call Madrid now I go away. And we not Beckham any Dino and I don't call about certificate bench like a free kick we run of a movie. And I'm saying Muna and they the caliber of Jude Bellingham ne Kane. Soon to me I say oh fair national team own free woman.
Yeah.
But if you tell you say the core team no England one year free woman. Sadia ni bi na me bomb person ka Ghana e betime dru sam pempen so na e beche de be bomb person betime dru coaches who ye England player na o ye adwuma under Pep Guardiola. He should tell you are working with one of the best coaches in the world. And he said coach Frelba national side Tuchel Frelba national side na o bobo omre also omre because you've learned from the best. Say Klopp, we are under Klopp and I under Slot. We have Crystal Palace. I mean, it should tell you say the best coaches to me are now in England. And he said, "Oh, you player, oh, you English boy,
oh Premier League,
you are like 70% done with Wajuma." The coach in Ibayane says he's just come to freshen it up because the Juma be a C. Anything about England, or the game or mobile, and your magic be out, and yeah, you be out. The only magic is the best coaches in the world are in England. To move good football. Me Mekase Yabeji. Because the started is coming home, it's coming home now. Namwa mobile person Emanema. And the young Kaide, boy game. Ghana also me team Ghana hire me Ghana ni 100%. Ye bobo na upo wakumedi chiri. Emebi echoma ankasa moja ekunipo Ghana hai. Ingina ni akumedi chiri. Ghana team no ayetse obi wa na ayetse be ma odo ne yire na ne yaya de ama na ye ne ya bo se te compound house bo se me edu me gya no oboa o ka mo bi ate o pese obi nkopa che so o gya me nya no ti Ghana national team na ka wansem na Ghana na ye nya de omoboa omo pese ye team ni ye mo ti radio so da bia mo ka mo mo ha nyina na mo ni abiri nya se mo pese alatafo di e bi weto ye go say ka wuti we ka World Cup you wouldn't move fit you say
Intercontinental na DRC dia no
yes they say World Cup Ghana ye ni me fit ye de ye ko enti Donald Trump na ni age say alatafo ne mba ko alatafo no do so o mba be ha no now alatafo Nigeria for mu problem no ya so wo kai a usa no atare ba ko pa na ne to yo de pa na beso beto yo ma me kaba
otu ani mu na chire ne mpumpuro
anu bi na to alatafo no otu ani mu wie now da ne chire na o sa otu chire na ni mu so na o to no
FIFA power mrebi say nka say player bi an qualify na national team beat me fa player for the same continent so the World Cup and Kawasanka Blasters for Simenko World Cup
na yan drop one
we yan drop you send a selection be na
to better bench na
they do a coach
na me dia ma kwara na reference na say what they say small boy like Nkrumah or ball toss in here you
guys are in dropping Nkrumah but say what to me for one player from the same continent they are Black Stars there cause we
are saying
boss na ko box ni mo no a World Cup anya AFCON boss no mo de ko box ni mo no and o si men am timi ama bi wan nkofo no
na say ya go nya box mu kwa na she go ana me ntimo ase o bo would get out to the bonus and no na say why no who say yi Puska player
when was the last time we see a boss shot for actually party the Konyo Nigeria mean kind the last time
I say you players you be ko here weekend me ko here had to folk and Swordro Blacks what a game nice game I feel me hu adekwanti a Ghana your number 1 Asare because has number 2 no them kra no on another dreams
number 3
mpo oye brutal
the dreams
oye 6 mako 5 ni nyina na 98% go
wow
to the extent that
agbesi
shot to be a yebo junior boy na ball ni deflect na keeper no o chen fish timi sa tunu hu bio eyi ball no Mr. Park enti afeni me hu adekwanti ya number 1 Asare because a keeper way at the bench
there's any Asare
you should tell you say team on competition ba mu a na England coach ni kanu competition ba mu a eboa na Ghana yenya say bi moto asase a we mu de we mu na bebo no se nipa no or the abo qualifies a we no nya de a
e bi na Tuchel here man say
yes
because under Southgate Arsenal it was more of a template by Tuchel no dey say who bon kwan de a
where would the
upper start Jarrod Bowen who form Saka fringe bench and Saka e bench
yes ya ko England records utimi nya player bia ye ni interview about say 1 cup ko say player no history as at that time here no ball national team no na ko say na oni form on ne club side England who former no pickle it is ana me pese ye Ghana team no enye so obi bobo Azerbaijan bobo yi baby chief
now former and so Azerbaijan now form there was
no bi bobo Azerbaijan or form what say obi obo ebony division 1 you
can see Asia
na ya sem na ka na wo ton zone ye kun to kwa no bobo azo form me ya mi modi mo na mo keka baby ye na mo ye fishy kwa de say o kure ba timba
Samarino for
mu to bi bobo ni akofre and fire ko to for boys ni nations for ni adi ko me ko hwe Swordro or Blacks
and it has game
and it has to folk what a game just say the ball no be bia ya coaches na game no Swordro or Blacks coach no oye broni kakra bisa Egyptian onim de obo ana unim Didi Dramani so nim de obo ana coaches ni gina bench eti ball no ball na technical ya wo say players na coaches na ball
yeah
ko say na ba say obi age obo enti entimi nya ya kwa frɛ ayi for fish for ya be boy there say fa be ma bi mo boy
can say that say yami advance fish for the asem play you
now
to be no mo ya fish I want me more country crowding
maybe I be ko obi wa team bi obi ko pa to
be fishery FC
we dey team say na be wuram say o me fam o because o dey yamma c'est pate obi o fe pate a obi anu nya se o ba be bo Ghana Star Boy Kudus o ba be bo fe ye who players o Ghana o 2006 we go ye bo qualify se bo nya o kwakuruma o makadu se mu nyina be bo obi o that of team no mo bo mo de be bo ye na ayi yo test as am from pon mo ne ho oni ayi matu am 9 10 na no na nya dwuma ko no mu ye no but e be wi ase ko World Cup no yo test no wan ko bi o
like instant Kraman Fananko
enti se ya boy wi a na se obi e wo form no ye Ghana ni no betima be boa ya World Cup anya group stages nkwa na pese ya bu ko se Ghana ya tra sa stage na so ye ko bi ahwe no Ghana ye ba World Cup a yes ye kan teams a ye tipe say oh we dey obetra group stage obetra quarter finals I was saying say next target the semis we to kokobo because we were nearly there. It was who players now or they kono because now per the England analysis no I mean who say clubs now players ne bono omu coaches ne dey adwuma ni na national side no enti say coach bi only DB coach player bi a hu o enti yem pe players no ball omu bo game and the well experienced coaches onim say edu die den a opikibo free ha esule muntari mu no satame mu ya den na ye kam o Ghana no mu tabroche no mate bo so no aja no de rane
ate
bi de bi mo obi adi me say me me PR ema obi anya de ka say me de masa na waka na maka to flat
no go free bench na ba
aha
odo nya bench no free ba last season I'm more form
to uniform dey anya I no so nja so bobo England ni abefa o samanyo o form I been see that me nya sure say after season we say the form no depia
Liverpool na no
obeko Liverpool body ni bobo too much but also previous seasons na and pick you but I feel what do ni pick I'm such a player Wontumi nka say e dey intend say friend ne mo ba on shama Ghana na say so ba 1-1 no do so no do 1-1 no do so
oh can say that say Mike my memory when Africa pomra quick na I was here referee so
fancy yenchi obia na
Wontumi
yendo obi so say it was an interesting weekend na emunsem ne bebre I didn't say komoni na be na World Cup qualifiers no yeka say parrota then about him
Akudara
then about him
oh say Troy Parrot
baby Parrot
abua
the features of Abu Ekoye there
na normal say
yes shape the parrot bird a certain level of intelligence and into no team memeke a speech into kasa obekano Abu Eko to me suya no hunu kwan no so be fast waka that is the intelligence but there is this way parrot can talk but I think that in Ireland the more feet and the Troy parrot here no you're not just a parrot who can talk but a parrot who is walking the talk. Swati as here he's walking the talk for Ireland here an interesting country and in fact omo football who didn't do one free the English football system. When Ireland made the 1990 World Cup and then the 94 World Cup, even 2002 World Cup, our players were drawn from the English Premier League or the top 2 tiers of the English football pyramid. Irish League near the player they mostly draw players from there. Lee Carsley and maybe a England standing coach, no assistant to Southgate. Carsley about 2006 World Cup for the Irish national team. Roy Keane, and we in a free line him, but they made their names in England. Troy Parrott a similar type of a player. And if you go through the Irish squad, clearly you find like that. Players on development, and even where they were exposed, it was through the English football system. They are remarkable what the idea Republic of Ireland and say they are actually a country you don't fancy. But almost whenever they meet you, they will give a fight. It is almost tradition. Almost in every aspect of Irish folklore, and then even into real life stories, they are fighters. That is what they are about. So in almost last 2 games, the Republic of Ireland national team had their backs against the wall. They needed results to go their favor. They fought for it. One, almost Portugal. And the way manner they went about it, they created a certain atmosphere. Portugal for no struggled to cope. Ronaldo in a red card home. Yeah. Home. No more free aviva. Then they took it to Hungary. Game near Bower Hungary for Chrome. Hungary Hungary will lead. They will claw back again. Then when everything seems lost, dying minute, they still a win. A typical Irish feature. Okay. No. They don't know how to give up. So when Irish Nibia, they don't give up. How to give up. So Troy Parrott is fronting a certain course. He's walking the talk. 5 goals in 2 games to qualify in the country to the playoffs. Now this is where it gets interesting. Ireland World Cup baby I find so free group stage in him or qualify out of their group or progress it. That is what I want to mean here. 1990 they made it all the way to the quarterfinals. Italy in a show the quarterfinal stage and sana Italy him. So when Cameroon were making history in 1990, Ireland was also there making their own history. 1994 again they progressed beyond their group, but the Dutch Netherlands team got their revenge against Ireland at the round of 16 stage, almost 2-0. But in 1990 they were in the same group that also comprised Netherlands, almost qualify at their expense, almost draw all their group games. Yeah, we need back 2 points. So England won a game and drew 2. England 4. Ireland drew all their games on 3. No more qualify at the call minimum. Then at the round of 16, Romania. Romania for no board draw. And then they won via penalties on the qualifier. So in all their 4 games, Ireland they winning, but they qualified. Fight. Italy were better than them, just better. And almost sure 2-0 or free quarter final stage. Then in 94 they bounced back. Again, they made it out of their group. So naturally, that is in them. They don't know how to give up. 2002 under Mick McCarthy on an coach. Mick McCarthy, a former Birmingham City coach. When pointed 1B. Coach is not first or more hard in Premier League. Tony Pulis, Sam Allardyce, Mick McCarthy, a Kangubi. On a day mobile 2002. Roy Keane Baba in same who be Jan a free company. He will not play in the tournament, but Robbie Keane captained them. And then he inspired them. Again, Ireland did themselves proud. Now, in the last times Oma tried to get into the World Cup, now saying it is a playoffs. And the story is a bit contrasting. 2010 World Cup, they would have made it bad for cheating. Omo call playoffs, normally France. Omasha France back on. Anna France Swatineka back on second leg. So the game should proceed. Then eventually, France may win or more game. No, almost share France war. And the game require extra time. Thierry Henry's hand. Almost find a hand of frog in Ireland. Almost a hand of frog. Henry didn't a control ball 2 times. Na sana ye born the ama William Gala beshe in extra time I 1-1. Then France qualifies at the expense. Omo ye petition ma FIFA say hwehwem. Na where the mo rem FIFA say dabi. Then France qualify for the 2010 World Cup. Who they told France for?
They said they all can want some crack to date. Ireland for the cancer this uncle.
I'm find a hand of frog. Once Maradona did a hand of God. When I find a hand of frog.
And Ireland France back 2010 World Cup.
Then a tour
disaster.
Exactly.
Disaster.
They curse them. Where was the Omoji superstition depend? I'm okay say France for no. They curse them. Then the last edition. Omoni Denmark and also playoffs Denmark etwa 5-1 on aggregate went me and qualify. So I am happy Ireland are here, but to what extent can they make it this time around? Can the likes of Troy Parrott mo emulate what Robbie Keane mo ye de to ho nana or mo be twa asane to ho mo? But they have struggled to make the World Cup since 2002 now they are entering the playoffs again at Hungary's expense. Can Ireland sustain momentum make it home, beating Portugal, beating Hungary, or make me sustain their playoffs now? Then it will help their qualification. Away from that, Nigeria and Commoner is simple. A clear case of a thorough decision making has been poor. The direction of Nigerian football, to Italy, Italy a bit different. Italy, they don't just have quality, technical playing body. Italy, when they won the World Cup in 2006, check your own squad, and check the teams they came from: Palermo, Milan, Fiorentina, Juventus, Roma. They were from the top 8 teams in the Italian Serie A, and these were players who were performing for their clubs. Within that period, 2003, Juve AC Milan played in the UEFA Champions League final, and they were dominated by Italian players. 2005, before the 2006 World Cup, now Liverpool, Asia AC Milan had dominated, taking a 3-0 lead in the first half. Liverpool better, then they proceeded to penalties, and Liverpool wins him. But to buttress the point that Milan were top side, 2 years later, they met Liverpool and beat them to win the title, Champions League. The Italian teams at club level were dominating in Europe. 2010, after Moje World Cup, from 4 years later, Mourinho the Omoba Champions League, good. So Italy clubs, were performing then. They were always in the fray in terms of the big competitions. For compare now, there is a drop. A new superpower has emerged, and the Sikabe rabo on him. Into a collapse Italy born cry. PSG Sikowo waje Champions League. We've seen Real Madrid, they are always there. Barcelona Mwababe Peja because of Messi. Then again, the English clubs, Manchester City, Liverpool, Sike Remuntioma Peja. The Italian clubs have not had the kind of financial power at these clubs in the world. So they keep going now. And our players do not develop and play for their top teams. The best example is Marco Verratti. Verratti was one boss Serie A Nibida, but he was a top talent. Players ni Pia, they don't play in the league and develop further. They are moved outside. Italy in Tessa, Totti stayed throughout. This was Boria no Ginidin, Cannavaro, no a movie. Luca Toni, Boa Ginidin, no a movie. But then almost 3 and 4 boko. Mario Wetegui was among the top scoring players in the Serie A some 2-3 seasons ago. Saudi. And Obo was Saudi Arabia. Sandro Tonali de Milan G League Newcastle discover fano. So they don't develop in the Italian football system. And here back 2 coaches. Italy has given us the finest of coaches. And Roberto Mancini Jumano, because in as much as we are being kakra, but he does not measure up to the other coaches who are top. Ka Italy epe coach na Ancelotti available. DNC Ancelotti call. Ancelotti call Brazil. Ancelotti was with the Italian national team in 1994, deputizing Arrigo Sacchi. Italy ball World Cup final. Roberto Baggio kobo penalty asayino. Na Ancelotti na assistant coach for the Italian national team. Hono sha se. Enti ko sani atwede na nko wie ne career na enye ho na osa nko wie. No ko Brazil. Because talent in ho, and there are not enough resources to help that. Ntuodo ho kokotumu a wa poison ho. And the coaches they are getting now basically are substandard. Coach be a wa bimbi obako fight Italy adwuma no obepeso obejai after 3 months. Gattuso no oni bibi yo otifie oni adwuma bi aye. So he sees this as an opportunity to bounce back, but any top coach, whether Italian or otherwise, will not see the Italian job as a job enticing enough. It's a poison chalice. Okosomua ebegu eni mo ase. But Nigeria there no, it is about the NFF and the direction they want to go. And before game no say no mo je o mani. So ma qualify we. Everybody saying their own poor decision making. Can Nigeria and South Africa, Benin, will group Wontumi qualify. This will be used North Deck. What was he wentwa North Deck now befa Ediako University. It is very difficult then. Of all the teams that made the African playoffs, Nigeria and Cameroon are monyade.
And your crowd.
They have history, they have experience. Congo World Cup Nibia, Cameroon, Africa, I don't know what corner the door. But in terms of recency, Cameroon lost to Cape Verde, Angola, Cape Verde. Omo the same group. Cameroon and Timian qualify. Na Gabon, and DRC. They lost to better teams on the continent. At this time, Ivory Coast were the reigning African champions. Gabon lose to Ivory Coast. It is not as shameful as Cameroon to Cape Verde. Again, DRC lose to Senegal. They won the AFCON in the last 2 editions. Or lose to no Onua, say. Now this is where the whole chaos came from. Nigeria started with Jose Pesero. Pesero ye Jumana ni yesi ejane kwai. George Finidi Mra. George Finidi so Pesero ye different because he felt the current players available were not giving their all. Foreign players no ba no ma bebe mo betri so. Omo ye di omo pe. Then he decided to break that chain. No we used to untested players, especially from the Nigerian league. Amfa players need be sorry TI. Eventually the players won that battle. Yes, Aki Finidi. Then at a point in time, Austin Eguavon Abeye Jumanibi. Austin Eguavon yes David Eric Shell and Somra. 4 different coaches in the qualifying phase. Again, Endra game no poor management. Now coach Kwako Kujuju when you should make decisions about penalties and faso. They had a plan. The plan was you will keep on Nimda, a typical of Louis van Gaal. 2014 FIFA World Cup. Netherlands neighbor coach keep on them just facilison. Only penalties, but as Tim Crew. Former Newcastle goalkeeper no. Van Gaal say Tim Crew embed them or penalties. Netherlands unqualified. They qualified. Nigeria, what was their plan for the shootout? Because Sawunim said ball baby Wontumi winning regular timer. You look out for your best penalty takers in the team. Why was Truce the Kong? Oh, come on, winning penalties, ball Nigeria team na on also at the bench.
Started.
Because defending the Nancy was on Yadi. But I'm talking about the specificity. Baby, I drew near penalties. And you have one of your best penalty takers in the game. So then away said you be the keeper back to save penalties. You also bring on your best takers to take penalties. Aroko Dore or penalties were gang way in a frame. Then you are bringing on players who will not impact the game and will also not give you results in the penalty shootout. Now you're koya by nature no bin down. The question is why you juju. So if Nigeria do not qualify, the NFF is one. The players should also look themselves in the mirror and look out for who is responsible for why they were not able to qualify. And then 3, coaching. I fear for Eric Shell. But a lot needs to change about the Super Green Eagles of Nigeria. Ghana they are the best man qualify, but say this golden generation of Nigerian attackers and your team, they have exciting attackers. They won't make the World Cup. 2030 beba ye pray for the next World Cup no. Osimhen no atra 30 Now look mamu na either they are 30 or at the early stages of 30. Ni ekoya na ase ye alata moyin amon fanesa no man nyo money o maye
themselves in the foot o monya ade couple.
Fancy yento aso 3p garlic mixture ana yebenu bina aboy 3p no eboama moja semekoye blood no circulate very well in the system, high blood pressure and I say the sugar level and so osra ni nyina no be pe bi na afi enu yaman so aye kama e de amani 3p ana obenom na bibia e kama de ama 3p garlic mixture baby ato adro e wogan ha bi obenya bi ato 0248928824 na wadin koma ruta enro no na make for de ama so ruta mixture when be ebe boa ruta no dumadia edi eni sem otimi no ma e ma wo nipadua no malaria no if you na fe general body pains no so ebe call and the amadas ruta Mr. Ruta live no ebe omodin e wo nipadua no no so de ye eni say support enhance blood circulation e wo nipadua no Ruta live no nya bia no be boa Ruta tonic eno so boa yi name we typhoid fever no say how pa ojo so ebo yellow who said is here what e ruta noibi na enom ebetimi aboa ye pa drei woni ene emfie dumienu ekwa anase wo ma akra no fo anase akra da yefunu no ma onum bi enye ye obefrem 0244485632 na wadi nkomade da so Herbal Clinic Dr. Aldausu ana yade ani chena so yese wani no ana wo problem wani so a ebetimi aboa na afi wonso watimi ama wani no ahwade se wani no hunu ade ye ebetimi aboa cataract no ene glaucoma ye hu adwuma yare bi eno how to say hypertension ana simbia ubi a blood pressure or diabetes no wodo wani be check takra de pot cortes ben Archbishop Porter Girls ana afi kuma se kwara so State Park edi adwumadie ana mo ewo ye kan say Accra so Tabora Alaji Walako Junction 0559901234 na wadi nkoma emulator ba supplement na make kamfo ere ama support immune system no immune system booster into benum bi na fa boost you na nuama so aye kama ere ama utie me na dey support general well being ti se wona ntika krabi anu abre ana wani so tab brewer wadro enie otie me na wafayefuno o ma akra no fa akra ne mfe dumienu a o ma ne bi enye 0535112813 na wadi nkoma tabia no no wa drama so tabia takum yebedi bi na afi atafre emu odepa o yoba na utiemi a ebeboa watinka ofoma onya eni tabia takum ni bia ebeboa pa oba nso etafre bi be man so tafra ebeboa na afi tabia ba mixture no malaria dro wanuma 20 minute dia eno nso ye wadru tabia ba capsules no nso no are ba ko a eboa se mbia uyema tima abwa ama watimi ayo huye pa 0243686861 na wadi nkomo na bibia kama the Black Stars of Ghana yanko nkomo so ne ni nkomo day one training and so ewo ye kan say South Korea eno eba so ye ni nkomo kakra ne hwese ne nuama esia kwa boys no edi omu dwumadie ne kama ema nuama etime ko after so omu bom game against Japan aye lose ye the Black Stars of Ghana wo mu eba modern hwese nuama be ko ye enra that's the day one of their training and ye be the amane say omudwumadie no and ye don sem edi emane day Kevin Kroma our training yes Kevin and so I Justin himself no yepa our training because enra utimu said ye na obo shot omo free kick naija what the boss 20 them our pitch in this one is so I ready for the Black Stars of Ghana say and maybe a coach no ebe training say onyinam no ono so betimi abona afi enuama ye kama enu ye Kevin and Kroma and ye denin sem eri tudwa edi amane e no so no nado apia and so ene honoma oboa or South Korea na utimi se ene omunyina hwese team no enuama betimi akoyi nti eja former captain no no so hwe a o cheche players enuama ba kumye bi after say coach and so edi ni dwumadi o pitch no so na they say injury situation or camp no Mohamed Salisu and Antoine Semenyo omienu and eja o ma pick injury enya dey say in game no betimi abobi omo ede o mani chi omo clubs na afi omo akwakoto so na enuama ya kama nti Salisu and Antoine Semenyo ana yedu omo nsem Eveba Francis Abudie why surgery no sada no pan yede nsem eba na say or say ni ono so be ntantu ye kan say ni rehab no na afi nuama enso ebetime kama ediamanite no kakra free o de ba yeram ewo the Black Galaxies na me adom ochina ye game no beba so ha na anopapa no patututu ana say ochina no pa 11 am na ye bo against South Korea nti ana ma no so the amamena yanko Black Galaxies na fi yeni enkomo coach your friend say Kasim Mengo ono ana handle the Black Galaxies na reporter say kan say almost 30 man squad no aba we a batch no dedi kan kra ano mafre na ni nyina ne say na me adoma the Black Galaxies no homo ball 4 nations tournament or Nigeria December ana the Black Galaxies here kona fi sa tournament no yanso etimi akobo December mu ana yewese ni sa tournament no ebeba so na coach atoni nsa fresh squad no squad na watoni nsa friend we a first batch ana watoni nsa from that 30 man squad wo mu ewese sa players yi ana wo mu be yi bi na eja wo mu di akọ tournament nti ene Felix Chey Mediama ewo mu Lawrence ni Osei ewo Heart of Lions ni di ewo mu ana afi Abrantia ye friend say Razak Sensemo woman nyina din ewom na notable names no sedu Branche Suraj ni di wom Kevin and Chrome of Mediama and so edin ewom Emmanuel Mafo ewa aduana ono so ni di wom Set Kojo edin ewom ewo no dende Peter Amido Aqua and so edin wom na say boys no we players omo report na nyame adom ene about 2 o'clock awie ya ana omo report ewo Elohim Hotel ewo so adro ho ana omo campaign afi omo so game no enu ama betimi akoyi ede amomu our tournament edi wo manim chan tournament na nyame adoma qualifies no next year into ready preparation for December and the tournament no Nigeria and we say ni o metima take part na nyama ye kama Ghana Premier League no matches eba so yan results and of course so over the weekend na ye nin come after say has a look omo ball 1-1 women swado All Blacks and they eba ni ansana and our Sunday games and also eba so say and it's tie kotoko womo eba omo de aduana eba 1-1 enra ewo baba Rock Sports Stadium bichem ehye no Samatesa Intimianti out of Lions woman shebi Emma Young Apostles womo out of Lions ehye no Young Apostles Intimianti and afi Go Stars etra Karela Kabako woman so Intimianti bichem for Brekum Chelsea omo shemi no Man Nations ate kanum bako Basaka Holy Stars and a Vision Boat 2 Dreams ehye bako Ho United Intimianti na afi 11 Wonders womo tena afi mere ya matwa ma kamienu a woman Intimianti say ara matches ni nyina enso ekoya de wonsem the bana games no and come across so did it Dramani after say obon game against Swadro All Blacks no in some kakra etu dwa say poor decision on the foot of play and no can be an man rantie no entimi enwi nti coach ayefre no Masoud Didi and in some way etu dwa after the game
win matches. I have that conviction that we'll win matches. We just need to improve on our decision making. In today's game, if we had made some better decisions in some key moments of the game, in some decisive moment of the game, the results would have been different again. So I believe that when we continuously play with courage, that is very key in the sessions that we have, is playing with courage, exhibiting our identity still in our positional play, and then getting into the key areas, and then we can turn and then make the chances created. When we can do that consistently, and then we will be sustainable. And once we are sustainable, and in a match we create 10.
Your coach Edema Swado All Blacks. Now Coach Ahmed, wano before game no mama no one is olusu sa game yo mbe sake no. Na ye match no ana omoni ni din komo wanya 1 point coach. What is supporters no say yempamo na yenye adwuma no so no de obetima aka ne so your coach a unsuru sack. Say bi amodi pam ene be hunahuna na ono de na adwuma no ye so all sake na onye fear of sacking. Coach Ahmed Fati eni.
What I think is not management. And the statement, I don't care. I just do my job here until they feel enough. If they sack me, I am fine. If they keep me, I am working hard 100%. Thank you.
Brony coach and or the kakra area to jam say brofone the sack ne the omo de omo found crab because say when the juma sack ne so conversation ne the obeji ye romo baba Rock Sports Stadium before game no na nchi washem kakra ba na manfo nti omu anse eduana for bus e delay na say Rock Stadium na amanfo say kotokofo na ma bus na delay na den na ekoso na mo reporter na yen say kam and say bus no e ba no de na ewum nie koto na say eduana for omo ko dressing room no omo ko hang omo jerseys no na the efi ebetwa na afi omo we say match ni be koso omo hang omo jersey no dressing room manager omo betwa omo be video of it and sana yetimi akoso ye kan nyina before the game na eduana for no ankoye ntibas ni ebewuram no ana ye kan say media officer no ba ebuza say mum be hang omo jerseys no nti ene mo bas no enrem ha nti ho ana ma eduana for no eyi omo JC eko hagi dressing room ansa and omu take a video of it no e kan obi ntina match no and I said before game no mo enter no a delay 15 minutes. That's the reason why and also etime bana se nya kotokofo na e deny wo mu se wo mu ma bass no in room said na etie no sa anankomo no so esikwa ya de wonsam no every ema ne de o show no so game no e 1-1 goals no enso etime pie sa anopa no ye di wonsam e de man wonya goals ni projection no e de matie for me said game no enso esikoye ewa group amano so na afi ye di ehon komana bibia nso ayekama yima no mafo wono ana eto atena edikai Lord Amwa ebete edema omunti game no sa ani esikoye de wonsam enso de ba game no ewie no siobo aristika coach edema aduana or nsem kakra etu duana sioba aristika enso on drawn game against Tima ye fene say kotokosan ana usi ehun game ye ntie manager edema aduana kakra coach Eddie Etuja, we a aristocrat, Yoba.
About this play today very well is respect our plan tactic, is respect what is working in the training, and from this is coming the draw. But you see sometime in the game our team control the game. The first 30 minutes you have another one opportunity or two opportunity from the game, from the score. After Kotoko is come back, you have the Kotoko have the player, individual very good player, but Adwana Star today is the better team to what play together inside in the pitch. I am happy what I see.
Arian Sam Kaka or Tuja coach Abdul Karim Zito and your coach Adema Krobia Kumasi Asante Kotoko so Ekasai Edekakra Etuja after the game Yenti coach and so the ono Edituja before now was say on yes satisfied with the results said the boys in the performance is it here and our coach Edekakra Etuja.
I can't blame anybody because when you look at the our game our 3 games previously, you will see a lot of change in this game. Why? Because of injuries. You understand me? So it was like we were even when you look at us in the field, we couldn't put 1-2 together. So I have to do an early tactical change to bring in Baba so that we stabilize. So if I tell her I'm okay, I'm not okay because
I don't say but now Samba O'Neill, Samba say omu game against Young Apostles Nedie, and so omu improve and as a captain on okra we send a performance for me and Samba O'Neill say against Young Apostles of 3 points no as omoje Emma supporters no.
Everywhere we need to improve every day. So I think that game against Young Apostle, we need to mostly win the game. Even though it will not help us, so we need to focus on the win the game.
Thanks very much.
You know, everywhere.
Na Samba, they say best center back Kruma say Samba man for every argument. Okay, currently no. I'm saying league no me one the best, but Enra you share Samba any Alex Boachi ewo Baba Iraq Sports Stadium no Eduana see who the best your league no.
I know me kitchen say Omoka Okumasi say Samba O'Neill is the best centre back in Ghana. By the best centre back in Ghana Alex Boachi, the friend of Uba, and the one name on the person Ghana free Alex Boachi is the best centre back in Ghana. Into
so far your league
I know as a free or Edeba. Now fancy sad news in say Seydou Sana one player the Adriana. Omu game no enra supporters boys be at the banners fans of Seydou Sana omu free Mamponten ho ana eba na fancy omu nya video ni dey atoso ama me boys no omu be support Seydou no e wo pitch no so na ewie ye omu ni age boy ya bobo ama ni di aba omu ko fie mze arelsem ni say omu ka omu dey ko no konya accident ama enipa mienu boys no mienu enso afrim ama bi prepra awomo ewo konfo anoche inti boys na awomo kita banners na awomo ebeta Seydou Sana echi no reporter ba ne say mu mienu afrimu accident on their way home ewo Mamponten kwa no so ho ana omunso etime afrima eyare wo sem ye pa ebi mu so prepare mo da konfa noche eno kakre fi ono made ba na Seydou no on the future Black Stars no players now more bomb modern local league and we afraid to the Black Stars so no send on so who the future Black Stars or per se your friend and money we are the modern mono e deserve yentie no tie no
game ni dem ka say so far because ka say maybe I bad my idea mentality dey man say maybe pay win but the see and dey ka say e baba draw dey boy dey pass the boy am so as a player dey take say so bejili dey na mentality say bejili ba only best side about draw yeah we ka correct back say about back
well here call na bibia e final mum Kotoko supporters ni bi say Morfin Donzo ni die na modemo e wo from pa ntika omo be so omo jiji skana omo di tonsu e de man no omo di jano kwan na nkaja
gate am say menje na de ma ye de me sa me tensiri no omo fan tonsu omo donzo sa on fa nya nsuo sika no fa nko as a striker 1-on-1 Wontumi mpeto yani has a bisi this is me say me 10 city no aka green stance get na net wo ona je yes I 10 city no baby me say fama donzo on fan tonsuo no nko ma on top
ya nje on fan try on fan tonsuo
wo yemre na fe yemra meto aso real quick still break I want to know on Kasaya fee brabefa time in an fire or Jose. And I'm share more match and be a Juba now say more string passes together. Crown a dance and more bond about 2 for critique chance and the band one ammonia Diana because anytime be a Diana Bishop Korokubia said Diana Bo Doma Kotoko Bo Kumas Biana and worship quality league in the moon.
Yeah, also there be an a bias kakra say for attention more than my local league, not because of but I feel there are certain talents in the league. They would need the voices of various people on their platform. Say be project Ebina Obi by Esquire or Kase or share All Blast game against us. My game now but except some free game which say it was a highly competitive game and players in Ibiwa and you're more forced to say Omoha. The geography of baby or free band no be determine whether we be the year and as a windy baby our channel grace in a bit me were free or and certain people say be some more kind a huge recommendation for All Blast mom panic so much so on beja coach quite results and yema at the results of an yoma be to play against us of folk no when you 5 go bound saves from Haas goalkeeper and should tell you say you are doing something right. It is a who busy or no say or the bepamu coach one shot about disrupting state na club in headroom because I was a build from somewhere and son or masa could do baby. But who decided say oh yeah born results no enko ye nya wins ne osi nyana to get a point against us of folk on any day, be it away or home no. It should be a plus to All Blast. But follow some of their games. A bit more how them say the flow of the game they are there very pleasing. But they are more like say no. How to get the goals. And most of the games, I are not lack and they elude omo. Otim say they do the right things, but the element of lack they are there Emma to almost side Emma Wontumi wins. So I feel their pain. But to say be a Yenja manager no kind or no woman start from baby and no more drew that you say yenye even more first round crampo baby born no more bonefe they will need wins to sustain them in the league and no many more yaji but they be any coach changing kwana bema win about okay the boys will need to understand themselves more or more corrective or more mistakes from their mind. And for Solomon Agbesi you see there be a make say a league ni a league Sikauma Ghanaian clubs ni kwanse omoye pre-season so kuma ne yenya Banana FCB Mobile Phone FC ni omoye pre-season no our players omu here exposure now exposure no be ka no crack coaches can catch omo nyintu no because most of the coaches no exposed to certain things. Okay. Be it the omubesua na say be a seminar be a umbeko. Which players ni nyebisa. So the only exposure players in Benyana are playing outside the shores of Ghana. And also Agbezini development at Dreams FC. They play themselves for I think 3 seasons. Names now Mobo African. Yeah. I knew most of them. Consistency no more for 3 seasons and son omunya African ako omunya African also African and the AN say my confidence o mentality ni HNU the Agbesi aye goalkeeper when you said you were playing with Dreams FC our Africa so he's a player fit enough to start for most of the clubs in Ghana. Okay. He's fit to start for Kotoko. He's fit enough to start for Mediama. Okay. Because of the consistency, or in the same bracket with Felix Che. Okay. Adi am the rated goalkeepers, Niema Ameshano. I feel he's even better than Benjamin Asari. Is yeah. Based on me and Nioma. The reflexes. Yes, reflexes. Timing. Okay. In fact, clean sheet in a judge goalkeeper. Okay. So means a clean sheet, a collective defensive thing and achieve it. So defenders cause blunders. Weaker you concede. That does not mean say you are a poor goalkeeper. But individual judgment, while alertness to play, reflexes, how our start to build up, how our manage game. Those are the elements I'm a judging goalkeeper. And I see that thing in him. To me, goalkeepers are recent years. I bet that Ghana Liga, Meniju Omohopano, Felix Anan, Razak Abalora. I feel he was a fantastic goalkeeper. Felix Shea, very good. And then became so Haruna, goalkeeper we are called Tanzania.
Solid goalkeeper.
Those are the fantastic goalkeepers. Applause are original, and yet by fluke.
So that
he has gone through the mill.
Masa.
Inti omunyano because of team inti attention corner. They are now seeing a new man why.
Go to a time has supporters in because Benjamin Asari no crying. Omo ya jine di cry.
Has omo flirting with goalkeeping problems. Omo for the last 6 years. Omo goalkeeping issues pa.
Sure.
Mkofra Kwesin Ketiri Philemon at some point Omunya Bakubi from Techiman City also yes very this year. I think yes almost issues, but now they are good to go.
Sure.
Agbesino Omanya we are good to go. Kotoko played against Ediana. I think it was the biggest liner of the weekend in terms of games on mobile.
Sure.
But couple it was Kotoko's worst game of the season in all the games at Kotoko Abo, Africa BBR.
Kotoko
worst game. A game Kotoko and a lot of things nanya right for Kotoko.
Well, mama, Shara Gam project league table, no man say man fall league table now, but they all kasarmo fan to so na omo moshenu hu baby omo teams in da.
Still now Kotoko 2 games in hand. On Wednesday against Young Apostles. But the approach to the game, the stats, the personnel on the pitch let coach Zito and then assistants they let them down. Because at the game number Adriana, no doubt Adriana played some fantastic football in the opening 35 minutes of the game. They were on top.
Wow.
Adriana ball some spirited game be out in there. They were doing well
for something.
Yes, defensively they were doing. They didn't have a lot to do because of who was attacking them. Because football when you control, you can't attack. So and my defense never relaxed kakra. In the first 35 to 40 minutes, Kotoko were not in control until Baba Yaba. So the reason they were playing the game they were playing, meaning say Kotoko were issues with injuries and then suspension. That said, I still feel say now Kotoko were the antidote players to make up for players now with primary suspension because entry ni Kotoko nyasa control no munya seasons are not lamte wo he control the ball be pushy enya possession. So game ne buy into a mode that na Adriana rather were forced to defend and defend well.
Sure.
Adriana played some good game. No flukes on that top of the table before game no ebe and mediama cut top of the table. No. They deserve to be there. They show glimpses of a team a year forward by hunger and the desire to do it. And certain signings be over here. Sanano, I watched him the games of mobile before all signing. I knew say he's a player who is good, but he had a lot of coaching and he did well. In the midfield, he was dominant because Kotoko AUZ a makeshift midfield.
Okay.
Because Samba bought midfield that's not a natural position.
Yeah.
And then Jewu anyhow. So Kotoko Elizu control because of the midfield choice of people are no more. But when Baba came in, game necessary kakra. Up front, those also engineer added a lot. And it was a good goal for Mediama. But any goal no crown I may praise you because I feel say goalkeeping decision was poor from Aziz. But Omunya corner kicks twice so on a row like 3. Their delivery set piece delivery, and then I will give credit to them. And they have this right back. So to me, in the last bare 4 seasons, Mediama a list of names be or mobile. Last year there was this boy. And also me feel me think I think he's still there. Okay. Ostati very well. None more demo before na this player we ball Kotoko when Timmy am more dear. But Adriana and no crowd be a name no escape me kakra. Okay. So Adriana so a critique sa niche for unearthly unknown names no more. The guy that played the number 2 position. He's very good, but Obitima better with consistency and the right coaching. He did very well. But Lord Amwa, you see, Yaboni dia Michelle Brekum Chelsea. Anytime I ever bought Brekum Chelsea, no say the guy has something special. I want to give him. Baby, I say Shadrach Bemi go na. Baby, Ujina it's me. It decided say on your forward. Yeah. And normally fullbacks I know almost shots no one director because of constantly they are crossing. Yeah. Until you are likely to have a curl or almost shots. But sending a baby original team ball direct strike, you give credit to him. Yeah. But I think Adriana Omoma Kotoko a very tough game. And then Go Stars manage winning. Yeah. So I carry for the game no more bono. Now what they Kotoko goals almost share against so Yastika. Yeah, this was the goal. Now make So look at him. Normally as a right back, the technique I'll be using is say obenya some curl our ball. But who is a really ultimate boy. I'm sorry, the laces and a ball shots now. Ultimate a share. So it was a good goal. He came to the rescue of Asante Kotoko. Nobody could have imagined. So wait him about ball because at this point now intense. Now Kotoko I take his siege of the game from this point. And almost piled the pressure to get the equalizer. But to have scored with this Lord Amoa, it should be a national project. And you'll be as a man of France our own deserving. Yeah. He has lived it. Michel, Morocco against Wydad. If there was any player on the day, near General say be a scout, be Penafanako, and now say, or ma Moroccans a tough timer. Lord Amoa. Senior Utimi overlap esan de ball no row mumu crosses no. He is one player. See, consider players for the national team. Glass Stars, Lord Amoa, the name I was here mentioned. Not because they say Obokotoko. Also, I give you credit to the Adriana player. He did well. But the levels now also you need that exposure. Not the fact that say ball game when you're good game against Kotoko. So automatically he's there. But the consistency of Lord Amoa from Brekum Chelsea or Bar Kotoko, he's here to have a terrible game. Kotoko. These are the sort of names Ubetima project say they deserve the color. But I think say weekend we you can't afford to be dropping points. League, look at the chase. Mediama with 20 points, Adriana with 21, Adriana with 20. Yeah. So you can't afford to be dropping points. And I think they say Obiabe honest games or my witness Kotoko play and at the end was the worst based on Kotoko standard, and yet the game. But important say Kotoko team fight it back in a point from that game. Yeah.
But Steven, that's it. Now we are doing much about the torso. Eddie Flow, no, Steven, no, birthdays, no, Nafi, Yane is the no torso,